have a question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Natalie Portman?
Not a big fan.
Okay, because there are parts of this movie that are almost predicated on you liking Natalie Portman, or at least finding her performance to be endearing as an actress. And yes, Natalie Portman for me will always be Padme Amidala, and there's nothing she can do about it. And that's fine, but she's a good actress. I just don't resonate with her.
No, it's tough because, yeah, she's been in a lot of great things. She's been in some things that I just outright don't like The Professional. That movie just makes me so queasy with all the pederasty in there. But things like V for Vendetta, that's a fine movie. It's one of the better Alan Moore adaptations, I have to say. But yeah, there's I kept thinking about Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables while I was watching this movie. And I think I might have more empathy for Hathaway in that than I do. Definitely more empathy with her in that than I do with Portman in this.
Yes, because it's in a lot of ways, it feels like the same role.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Just with very funny makeup.
Hilarious, one might say. Knockover, a hilarious entry into Miloš Forman's filmography, Goya's Ghosts.
A lot of ghosts, not a lot of Goya.
Yeah, boy. So on that note, on this episode of the Kulturecast, I am still your host, Chris Stachiw, much to the chagrin of many, and I am joined by the man who put Mike White in Mike White May, or he is Mike White of the Mike White May, of the projection booth, the more important thing of any of the things, and especially on the Weirding Way Media Network, your friend and mine, host of the projection booth, Mike White.
I'm here.
You programmed this month.
I plead innocent of all charges.
Yikes. Well, somebody's pleading for something, and it might be Natalie Portman for her life, because I've heard she's a Judaizer?
Yeah.
God. Oh, well, we're here, folks. It's Miloš Forman's final movie. We're talking about it from 2006, and it's called Goya's Ghosts.
They consider him the greatest painter in Spain. Most marvelous work indeed, Goya.
An artist, renowned for his genius.
You have the reputation of mocking the men of cloth in your work.
Do I?
Are you aware of how many powerful enemies you have, Goya?
Fortunately, I also have a few very powerful friends.
A woman, adored for her beauty.
Why doesn't that painting have a face?
Because he's a ghost.
No, he is not.
How do you know?
But behind the art...
Do you not see what demonic filth this Goya is selling?
Do you painters not become very intimate with your models?
Beyond the canvas.
My daughter Ines has been summoned by the Holy Office.
Ines, that's preposterous.
Is a world where the powerful are declared righteous.
We have to return to the God-fearing ways of the past.
And the innocent are declared guilty.
What do you want me to confess?
The truth.
My daughter was tortured. Tell me what the truth is!
There are revolutions everywhere.
In the name of Emperor Napoleon, we hereby proclaim the Spanish Inquisition abolished. All of his prisoners will be freed.
Who was that girl there?
Her name is Alicia.
She has taken leave of her senses in jail.
Where is Ines?
She's in very good hands.
I say very safe.
Javier Bardem, Natalie Portman, and Stellan Skarsgård.
Why is she so important to you? You are completely obsessed with her.
That face is engraved on my mind. I'm not going to abandon her again.
So it is directed by Miloš Forman, and it stars Natalie Portman, if you can't tell, Javier Bardem, Stellan Skarsgård, and Randy fucking Quaid. Because reasons. And the movie more or less focuses on Javier Bardem as Lorenzo Casameres, a man who has no country and no allegiance other than the people that are paying him. He's like Winston from the Ghostbusters, but not as charming. And he goes around and interacts with Natalie Portman, who plays a woman accused of being a Jew. Stellan Skarsgård plays Goya in a movie where it's named for him, but like you said, he's in it for 2 seconds. And Randy Quaid plays King Charles IV. And it's very much a Miloš Forman movie. It's about people in control, controlling other people, and what that means for the people that are being oppressed. So, Mike, I got to ask you, as I've asked you every moment up until now on Mike White, May and March, why are we talking about Goya's Ghosts?
Same answer. I had never seen this movie before. I didn't even really know that this movie existed until I don't even know when I was doing some sort of research on Forman. And yes, I remember Man on the Moon, of course, The People versus Larry Flint, the 2 movies that he was doing with the same writers. But Goya's Ghost, he's back to Jean-Claude Carrier, who we've talked about before on this show. He co-wrote Valmont. What else did they work on? Taking Off, they also worked on together.
Right.
So I guess this is almost like Jean-Claude Carrier month, as much as it is Miloš Forman month.
Yeah. And boy, all the Carrier stuff, at least this and Valmont have a distinct flavor to them.
Yeah, I have to say right off the top that I didn't think that this was a bad movie. It might not have been for me, but I don't think that inherently this is unentertaining, and it's put together pretty well. There's a time jump that happens in the movie that was very shocking to me, but it makes sense when it comes to kind of 2 halves of the same story.
Like yourself, I'd never heard of this movie. I'm a fan of Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. Like, Javier Bardem, at least in Western cinema, ain't known for doing a lot of quality stuff in the same way that I would say, oh Jesus, what is his fucking name? God damn it. The black English actor who...
Oh, Idris Elba?
Yeah, who plays Luther. Like, I don't necessarily consider Idris Elba's work in American cinema to be quality stuff. Dark Tower, that movie where he fights those lions. Dark Tower. Prometheus.
Are you forgetting Pacific Rim, my friend? He canceled The Apocalypse.
Yeah, I know you like that movie.
I do enjoy that movie. No, Javier Bardem hasn't been having a lot of luck in our cinema. I don't know how he's going to be in The Little Mermaid. I'm not holding my breath. I think that was a joke. I wasn't a big fan of his Stilgar in Dune.
Oh, right.
Very curious to see what he's going to do in Dune 2, because obviously Stilgar takes a much more prominent role in that, or at least he should. I haven't seen Mother, so one of these days, but he was all right as Captain Salazar in that Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But yeah, just okay. Like, yeah, he hasn't done a ton of great stuff. His bizarro turn in Skyfall. Wow.
Oh my God. Raul Silva, man. The gayest Bond villain ever.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Good Lord.
And I mean, I think this might have been his last purely foreign film. I mean, I guess he was in Collateral, that Tom Cruise movie, but I barely remember him being in that.
I loved him in that fucking Pirates of the Caribbean movie, only because the way he's a Jack Sparrow.
I know, he's so good.
It's like he saw what Jeffrey Rush was doing and like, let me just ham it up like twice as much. Because look, I love Javier Bardem as an actor. I think he's an interesting actor. He's got a great face. He has a great look. He is a distinctive looking guy. But it's kind of unfortunate that I saw him in the best thing he's ever been in the first time I saw him. And I think that's for a lot of American film goers. 07's No Country for Old Men is like, that's the first time we've seen this act. That's the first time I've seen this actor. And he makes such an impact in that movie. He's the best part of that movie. And that movie's really good anyways. Like, it's a great movie. He's also a great role in it, to the point where anytime you see anything about that movie now, it's about him. It's not about Josh Brolin's performance or anything else. It's Anton Chigurh all the way down. And like, that speaks volumes to Javier Bardem as an actor. That being said, what were they thinking putting him in this movie? He's so uninteresting as a character. Like, he's meant to be this kind of guy who is a sellsword for anybody, right? Like, I'll just go and follow whoever is in charge or whoever is going to give me whatever benefit I need from it. But like, that story becomes muddied in a story about Goya, which has very little presence in the story. And it ultimately becomes like, it just isn't so narratively disjointed that even if Javier Bardem was given a lot to do, the amount of time that they focus on his character is just not enough to get a sense of like anything going on in this movie. Really, it's so all over the place.
I didn't take it as him following who's ever in power. I mean, we've got...
Really?
For me, yeah. My interpretation was he's a man of the cloth, but he's weak. He's very, very weak. That he forces himself on Natalie Portman while she's in jail. And we'll back up a little bit later to talk about why she's in jail. And I'm very curious about some things around that. He forces himself on her. His confession comes out. And he has to go into hiding. So I was thinking that he goes to France to go into hiding and basically is relishing when the regimes change and he can come back to Spain and punish all of the people that punished him. That's how I interpreted his role in this.
No, I mean, that's fair. I mean, I guess it was just more to the idea of like, he doesn't seem to have he has an allegiance, but look at the opportunity he gets to take Michael Lonsdale and just toss him under the bus, right? Like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I like the idea of this character of like a guy who, again, he's out for himself. Like you said, he is weak. He forces himself on Natalie Portman, but he is out for himself. Like, he has a family, but the one scene that they share, it's like, this guy doesn't even belong here. Like, He seems like an alien on the moon compared to these people, because you know that this guy is just putting on airs for everybody. And what I don't get is, why wasn't he just the focus of the movie entirely? Like,
yeah, we didn't need Goya in this movie.
No, I don't know what the fuck Goya's point was.
Yeah, I mean, I love Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh my God, we just talked about him.
Yeah, and I love when he showed up. I was just super excited. I was like, oh, great, Goya, cool. This is all going to be, because they start the movie off with all of these images of his etchings and all this. And like, oh, very cool. I can't wait to learn more about this Goya guy and just what motivates him. He's got all this great imagery that he's doing. And this is really a bad time to be making any sort of etchings or paintings of demonic figures, because you might get lumped in with witchcraft and just burned at the stake or thrown into jail or whatever. You know, one thing I didn't expect was the Spanish Inquisition in this movie. And sure enough, there they are. And yeah, it really takes a back seat. You know, he paints the painting of Natalie Portman, and then he's painting he's painting a portrait of Javier Bardem as well. Kind of helps those two meet ish, and then he takes a back seat. You know, he shows up. I mean, he's so ineffectual as a character that he goes to that dinner party where after Natalie Portman's been taken and put through the ringer almost literally and thrown into jail, and her father and her family are just very upset. They say, hey, Javier Bardem, come to dinner. We kind of want to plead our case for our daughter. They literally force him out of the movie. They push him out the door and they're like, yeah, that's great, Mr. Goya. Take care. We're going to deal with this stuff with Javier Bardem. We're going to torture this dumbass and make him sign this paper that says that he's actually the prodigy of or the seed of an orangutan and a chimpanzee, and that he's snuck into the church and he's there as a spy, or all this kind of hilarious, I thought, garbage. And yeah, then he goes away, and then 15 years later, what?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, for a title of a film called Goya's Ghosts, and the way that the movie opens, it is a complete misdirect. Like, the movie that is in the opening sequence of this movie, I was totally on board with.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Javier Bardem is this kind of learned priest, maybe, who is kind of defending Goya's work and saying, like, if we do X to him, it will look like Y, so we shouldn't do it, even if it's just the optics of it. Like, don't do it, and people see it. I read on the internet it's supposed to be Abu Ghraib, but whatever bullshit I call on any of that. Like, this is like anti-war thing. Like, it's such a small part of the movie that the purpose of the movie is not the opening scene. Any importance you might draw from the dialogue of the opening scene gets erased the moment the movie actually gets going, because the movie is so much like Valmont. It's not even funny. It's that same high intrigue, people backstabbing one another, not being on the level, doing shitty things to each other because we're shitheads. Like this movie in Valmont, there's a through line of the DNA here. Because again, in Valmont, it's, the haves and the seemingly have-nots. Here, it's the holier than thou and the seemingly Jewish is what nobody ever expects the Inquisition, right? Until it's the entire movie. I didn't know Natalie Portman was going to be strung up and smacked around in this movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And that's, of course it's supposed to be upsetting, but you're just like, whoa, where did this come from? The question that I had though was, why her? Why did she get picked up? Why do they say, because they do the research and they go, oh yeah, your fourth grandfather on this side converted from Judaism or whatever. Like, but why her? Was it him? Was Javier Bardem, and I'm sorry that I keep using the actors rather than the characters, but other than Goya, we're not given a whole lot here, but I guess we'll talk about how Natalie Portman actually plays two characters at one point. But like, why her? Why was she the one that gets picked up and accused of this?
Is it because he saw her picture in Goya's studio? Because that's the only
what I was
assumption.
wondering. Yeah.
But
he doesn't seem to be happy about them picking her up.
No, it's like he sent people to spy on her, and in spying on her, she got made out to be falsely Jewish. Like, how did that happen? Like,
yeah,
I don't get it. Like, it makes no sense. Like the whole, like, she's a Judaizer because she turned down pork. Like, what? Like, where is this coming from here? Like, it's so weird because Natalie Portman's character is seemingly not on anybody's radar until all of a sudden she is.
Right. According to Wikipedia, it says later, Inez is spotted in a tavern by Holy Office spies, trained by Lorenzo, who's the Javier Bardem character, declining a dish of pork. She is summoned by the Inquisition and arrested on charges of Judaizing. Is that it? Was it just the pork? Like,
but why, right? Like, how could that be? Again,
some people don't eat pork because pork's a filthy animal, man. You can tell me the dog tastes like, I can't remember the line.
It's a dirty animal. God. It's weird because it seems so just random, right? Like there's no
there's a lot of randomness in this. The whole thing with her daughter and the whole thing with her finding the baby. Again, we'll get there, but that was just like, okay, so that your daughter was holding that baby like 5 minutes ago, but she's fucked off now and is in a wagon being taken through the countryside. Meanwhile, you're wandering around like a crazy person holding this baby.
Natalie Portman, if anything, she definitely puts in the hours in this movie to be considered like a major player and almost takes the reins away from everybody because she's such a focus of the movie. But what a nothing of a character. Like just like, when she's normal Inez, she's just kind of sad and like begging for her life. And then when she's gone full, crazy, as one might say, it's just, I had a baby and I had a baby. And it's like, what? Like, even in Sweeney Todd, something that I would consider to be similar to this in a lot of ways, because you have someone going away, has been in prison, they get out 15 years later, all that kind of finding your family after you've had this thing happen to you. Even that, which in like the Tim Burton adaptation is pretty ham-fisted, it works better than this because at least I understand why the characters are looking for one another. And ultimately, when they find each other, there's a moment of like emotion between them. Here, it's like, who cares? Like, it's so weird that this is a Miloš Forman movie because it doesn't have the trappings in a lot of ways of a Forman movie.
So Sweeney Todd set in the year 1785. Valmont, which we just talked about last week, set in the year of 1782, and Goya's Ghost set in the year of 1792. So I know Sweeney Todd is just funny because you were just talking about it, but with Valmont and Goya's Ghost, these stories are basically taking place at the same time. So this whole idea of this costume drama, it's it's like, why the costume drama stuff? Like it's so bizarre. Like with these and then Amadeus, it's like you compare those films versus Fireman's Ball and Loves of a Blonde and Black Peter, where it's like the most naturalistic thing where we've got all these amateur actors and all this. And then you come over to his later career in the US and it's heavily costume dramas, all set in the late 1700s. It's like, wow, that's a real switch.
Well, I wonder if it's like a budget thing because, Black Peter and stuff like that, like they don't have the budget to have all these amazing visuals of,
or
period
actors.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing, I just watched Cuckoo's Nest. I enjoyed it. And it felt like a Forman movie. It felt like it was still talking about the same things that I expect from Forman. Even if he doesn't write the script, he adds that Miloš Forman essence to the movie that only he can do because he's a Czech filmmaker. There's none of it here. Like, there's none of it here. This could have been made by anybody. Like, maybe it's like that dry wit is there. There are parts of this movie that are unintentionally hilarious. and there are parts of this movie that are intentionally funny too. The whole orangutan and chimp thing. Yeah.
Or the Portraits of the Queen.
Yeah, like that's funny. Randy Quaid being in this movie at all is hilarious. Like there's plenty of funny stuff in this movie, but there's plenty of unintentionally funny stuff. But there's nothing that I could really point to and say, that's a Miloš Forman. Given now that I've spent this month watching his stuff, reading about him, learning about what makes him the filmmaker that he is, and then seeing it while watching the movies, this is just a period piece. Like, okay, and great. Like, to what end? So we can hear Stellan Skarsgård pretend to be Spanish because, okay, he doesn't even try. He does not try at all.
He tries as hard as Randy Quaid tries.
Yeah. It's Stellan Skarsgård has such a distinct voice that I can hear it in my head. And like, there's nothing like even Harkonnen just sounds like Stellan Skarsgård. Like, yeah. Like, you know what you're getting when you hire Stellan Skarsgård. So why did you hire him for this movie? Like, he doesn't. I looked at Goya. I guess he looks more like old Goya than he does as young.
Oh,
Goya.
Yeah.
Goya with that hat.
Yeah, Goya. Yeah, with the candle hat. I mean, pretty ingenious. I mean, yeah. It seems like a fire hazard, but kind of ingenious.
The candle hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting down Randy Quaid because I think that he does a very fine job. And it almost looks like he was actually playing the violin in that scene. Like, if you told me that he played the violin, I would believe you because it looked very believable. And yeah, I think that the level of acting and actors that are in this movie are great. It's just, it feels almost, and I am so sorry, Jean-Claude Carrier. It feels like this needed another couple passes through the typewriter just to kind of tighten some stuff up. It feels like it's a little loosey-goosey that we, like, again, it's like maybe we eliminate Goya or we just call him somebody else. He doesn't need to be Francisco Goya, the portrait artist.
Well, and even to that end, it's like the ghosts of Goya. Like, what does that mean? Because they mention it in the movie a couple times. Like, I guess let's actually walk that back. Not a couple times. They mention it once. They mention it one time in one scene, what this like idea of the ghosts are. And it's, I can see their faces, or I can see them, but I can't see their faces. And that makes them ghosts. And it's like, what? Mm-hmm. I have a hard time understanding what was the point of this story, I guess. Like Valmont, I understand it's dangerous liaison. Fine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is just like, okay, so whose story is it? Is it Natalie Portman's story? Is it Javier Bardem's story? Is it Francisco Goya's story? Whose story is it? And because the movie, in my opinion, never makes up its mind, it feels like it's just kind of hurtling towards this kind of bizarre conclusion of where it ends up going. And then at the end of it, you're just left wondering what the hell you watched. Because that final scene of them going off in the cart with Natalie Portman, everything is like, what was the message here? Like, is it such a deep message that I missed it? No, I just don't think Carrier knew necessarily what he wanted to say. I feel like there's something here. I just don't know what it is. Not because I think the movie isn't clear with it. I just don't think the movie does a very good job of conveying it. I think it knows what it wants to say. I just don't think it knows how to say it.
Well, yeah, it's like it starts off with that really good question of the question. And just the use of torture to get answers out of people. More than Abu Ghraib, I would say more like why am I blanking?
Guantanamo?
Gitmo. Yeah, it felt very Gitmo to me.
Right.
But I mean, even then, it's like, okay, yeah, that was pretty cool. The whole thing of him then admitting that he's the son of a monkey, all this kind of stuff. But then they kind of drop it. I mean, they do talk about the evils of the church a little bit more and just who's in power and all that kind of we already talked about. But they lose that whole thread of the evils of the church as we go along. Like, it's more just about who's in power, and we don't see the church do anything else evil, really. I mean, I guess the idea of them just taking her baby after she has this baby in prison, maybe, I mean, of course, that's pretty evil, but what else are you going to do? You know, you can't let a prisoner have a baby. You got to take it away and put it in an orphanage.
The better of the options. Yeah. I mean, you know, I've seen Guillermo del Toro's movies. I know what Spanish orphanages were like.
Oof, yeah. Devil's Backbone. Yeah.
I know where they're taking those children.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's no, and you know, the I think the bigger point here, and I think it's the thing you clearly touched on. The first part of this movie, I actually think is fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's the second half that just like shits the bed and then wallows in it. Like it unabashedly feels like the movie just doesn't care in the second part. Mm-hmm. And frankly, like, why not just end it there? Like, why not just end the movie with him being like, you know, run off of town? Like, again, that's like a 45-minute movie. So maybe you need to shore it up more, but don't do like, oh, and 15 years later.
Right.
Like, wait a second. Like,
yeah.
Hold on now, movie.
And
like,
so does that mean that the prostitute daughter is 15 years old? Because she wasn't even, well, she was probably a little pregnant when we did that time jump. But I mean, like, we just had zygote, you know?
Zygote.
We have zygote.
I guess she was supposed to be 15. I mean, that's the thing. Natalie Portman, at this point in her career, she was born in 81. So she was like 25, 26, 27. Yeah. So does Natalie Portman always present younger? Is that what it is? And that's what they're trying to do? Okay. But she doesn't present that young. Like,
no, she didn't look. She didn't. I mean, she's also been blessed that she looks very similar now to when she was a kid, basically. But no, I didn't take her as being 15 years old. That just hit me like right now.
Well, and like, you know, speaking of Valmont, Fairuza Balk looked. I mean, we talked about it in that episode. She looked young. Yeah. She looked younger than the age she was supposed to be, even.
Exactly.
She would have been 15 when that movie was 14, 15 when that movie was being filmed. So, yeah, Natalie Portman is 27 trying to pass as 15. Like, because let me tell you, folks, you've never seen it until you've seen Natalie Portman in brown face.
Oh, boy. And she's got
eyebrows
and fake teeth, I think she's got going on. And the ringlets is what really gets it.
She looked like Caitlin Olsen from Always Sunny when she's doing her like brown face character, when she like shows up at like work sites and is trying to like get the workers to strike as like her Hispanic character. That's what she looked like. It's like, but that's funny. This is just like, whoa, wait a second, Natalie Portman, like you look ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty silly. And she, like, there are times so this movie is set in Spain and it's shot in English, which is okay. That's great for me. I know it threw a lot of people off, apparently, and especially because you have a very, you know, well-known Spaniard as your lead with Javier Bardem. But it's like every once in a while, it gets so Spanish that you're just like, whoa, what happened? Is this a cast party for Carmen or something? Like, what? Why are all these people suddenly like in the traditional garb, whereas nobody else is? And it's like, especially when it comes to those women, the prostitutes in the trailer later on, when they all get picked up and I guess they're getting sent to America, all these prostitutes. And Bardem is just like, well, better for her to be sent to America as a prostitute than for her to get killed in the war. Okay.
I like the idea of indiscriminately just killing civilians.
Yeah. But when she's in that, I mean, her garb and all of the other prostitutes' garb, it's almost like, well, if you're paying for a Spanish prostitute, you want them to look like somebody who just went to, you know, Halloween USA and picked up the Spaniard costume, that comes with little $2 castanets, I mean, she looks like that.
Yeah, it's goofy as fuck. Like
it is.
And the funny thing is, so after the time jump, it's okay. So Goya's deaf now. Javier Bardem has come back, and he is now, he's for the French, and he's here kind of spitting in the face of the Spaniards who ran him out. And Natalie Portman gets out of prison.
He's having a real, what was the last one? Dark Knight Rises or whatever. I'm surprised that it isn't the Scarecrow sitting over Judgment of everybody and them taking them out to a half frozen river and saying, walk.
Yeah, right. He's relishing that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
But Natalie Portman, the version of her in prison, gets out, and she's looking for her daughter, and we find her daughter, and it's her, obviously, like we've mentioned, playing her daughter. That threw me for a loop the moment I saw that, because I was like not expecting a dual role at all, and it's barely a dual role, because the character of Alicia, as if, she is not a character.
No.
And I mean, Natalie Portman's other character, not really a character either. But somehow the daughter that she's playing of Javier Bardem and herself is less of a character than she is. And yet we're supposed to care about this character for some unbeknownst to us reason.
Yeah. And when she gets let out of prison, you were talking about unintentional laughter. This was definitely one for me, just to see the prosthetic that they put on her face, because it just looks so funny when she talks. It just looks like she's doing like Sean Penn from I Am Sam or something. It's just like, this is so weird. And she's got the horrible stringy hair and the dress that's all shredded. And then my funniest part was she's walking down the street just totally out of it, basically shuffling through, and nobody's paying attention to her because she just looks like a mad woman, which she is. There's this guy on the street who has the audacity to reach up his hand like he's begging from her. And I'm like, don't you see what she's wearing? She doesn't have any money. What is your problem? And she basically stays in that same rattiness for almost the entire rest of the movie.
Yeah. That's why I was saying the Sweeney Todd thing, because it totally reminded me of Johnny Depp's wife in that movie that gets taken away, and then he sees her and she's all kind of nasty looking. But this is speaking of Party City. You know what? This is the kind of makeup I expect from someone on season 2 of Face Off who gets eliminated before the halfway point of the season.
Yeah, this is the quick challenge.
Glenn Hetrick is shaking his head at this makeup going, this ain't for me, dog.
He'd walk up and go, okay, open your mouth. Oh, you can't? Okay, all right.
This is the guy in a mask? What the fuck? Yeah. It's laughably bad. And I think that they know that almost because we don't see her a lot. When she's in her kind of emaciated state, she is not on screen a lot. We almost see the normal version of her more. However,
right.
You saying the thing about the whatever they thought they were gonna do with her mouth, I can't even. The way she holds her mouth the entire time, it's just there's an image I have in my head of Bart Simpson from The Simpsons taking his fingers, stick him in his mouth, and taking his mouth and stretching it down, and his teeth are sticking out. It looks like that. It looks comically bad. Like in Bubba Hotep, or actually in The Frighteners when John Astin rearranges his jaw. Yes. It's like that. It's what's going on here? She was in prison. She wasn't being eaten by rats every day. It's just.
She looks like she's doing a bad Sylvester Stallone impersonation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's so fucking strange. And that's why I asked the thing about Portman, because I don't Natalie Portman is one of those actresses where Robin Wright, I just don't, what's the appeal? Is it she's good looking and she's talented? Because yes, she's good looking and yes, she's talented, but it doesn't ever feel like she brings anything to the roles. It's just her being her. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I feel terrible for saying that, but Natalie Portman is just one of those actresses that I don't resonate with.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything of hers where I'm just oh yeah. Yeah. I might like the movie that she's in. I know this is a horrible example, Zoolander, because she's just playing herself in that one.
Yeah.
But it's there's not a lot where I'm just oh yeah, wow, that Natalie Portman performance was just amazing. I guess maybe, and I think this works well because of the way that I see her is her performance in Black Swan, which is funny because I just mentioned Mother, so it's like a little what has Aronofsky done for me lately kind of thing.
Hey, I'm not an Aronofsky fan, but I know people are. I know people are.
I thought, well, I've only seen that movie once, but it really made an impression.
Huh.
But that maybe, I mean, anybody could have been in Annihilation. Anybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's the only movie I can think of that I like that she's in. But the character that she's playing in that movie could have been played by Robin Wright, and I still would like the movie. Like, it's that same, like, cold, detached, not involved, but that's the character in the movie. Like, that's the whole shtick is, like, cold and detached. I haven't seen the new Thor movie.
Oh, boy.
Okay. That's all I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Good.
Basically, it's almost like avoid the Thor movies where Jane's in them. But her little cameo in Endgame, that worked well, but that was about it. And I don't even know if that was actually, that might have been her. That might have been an outtake. I can't remember.
I honestly forgot she was even in it. Like, wow. Oh.
Yeah. It's just when they're trying to get the Soul Stone.
Oh, yeah.
Rocket and Thor going over to Asgard.
It's just weird that Natalie Portman's involved with such mainstream stuff in such a big way. Because, like, obviously, again, Amidala from Star Wars. And I just rewatched those prequels. Like, she is bad in it. But, like, we all know.
Everybody is.
Yeah, we all know that, like, it's no fault of their own.
Right.
Like,
I mean, Hayden Christensen is actually a capable actor.
Yes.
And they made him horrible.
Yeah, they somehow made Hayden Christensen look like fucking a 2x4 with googly eyes.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. And Natalie Portman the same way. Like, really. Yeah. Like, their chemistry in that movie, it's...
What chemistry?
Exactly. It's horrifying. Like, and that's... Honestly, I would say the same thing about this movie. Like, what chemistry is Natalie Portman supposed to have with Goya? Because that's the intended relationship that's supposed to matter in this movie, right? Right. Goya and her, and him going to bat for her and then forgetting about her for 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that, and then she is, I mean, I guess in her mind, because we don't stay with her enough. We don't see her, like, when they bring her back out, when they go, okay, release all the prisoners, and then they cut to her and like, oh yeah, that lady, Inez. Yeah, I forgot about her. Like, honestly, I forgot about her character. I was just like, okay, well, she's fucked. She's going to jail, whatever. She's probably going to be tortured and die. I mean, I've seen The Devils. I know what happens. But, you know, like, she comes back and I'm like, all right. And then we eventually find out about the baby. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I guess because she was a virgin and Bardem takes her virginity, that's why she becomes obsessed with his character and is trying to find him, is trying to find the baby, is there at the end, desperate for him to look at the baby and make that connection. And yeah, but
that's you doing the work for the movie.
That's definitely me doing the work, that because I'm just like, well, what was that like for her in prison? And I'm thinking about that while the movie's running, and I'm like, well, maybe I should actually pay attention.
I think it's more to the movie's failing that it's not able to keep. It didn't keep my attention. And look, the movie's hour and a half. It's like almost 2 hours. It's not even over 2 hours. It's 114 minutes, right? So that's like an hour and 50. So it's a glacially paced movie, and that's an insult to glaciers. Like, it's just, by the end of it, I went, okay, and what was Forman getting at? Because that's the thing. Like, Miloš Forman makes movies where he's saying something, like in Cuckoo's Nest, like even in Black Peter. And I'm sure, I haven't seen Man in the Moon in a decade. I'm sure he says more about the human condition in that movie than he even attempts to get at in this movie. Because it seemed like, for me at least, Miloš Forman's movies are about the human condition and being human, and also, like, you know, the shared experiences that we all have, be them good or bad, and kind of how we find a way to deal with them. And, like, there's none of that. Like, Goya, for as much of a character in the title of the movie he's not around enough to be kind of the Jiminy Cricket of the piece. Because that's what I was expecting. Like, the emotional core of the movie was going to be Goya, who all these things are happening to, and he's just, I'm just an artist. Like, you know, like, because that's kind of the sense that you get early on in the movie, is he wants to get involved, but can't get involved because his patrons are the people who are doing all this nasty stuff. I mean, the stuff with Randy Quaid, right? Like that. Honestly, that's some of the best stuff in this entire movie is when it's away from Javier Bardem and Natalie Portman, and we get to see Stellan Skarsgård and Randy Quaid on screen together, which...
I thought you were going to say Stellan Skarsgård and Felipe, his deaf interpreter.
Oh, also, that guy's great.
He is great. Well, even when it comes to him losing his hearing, it's like he gets that noise in his ear, cut 15 years later. Okay, now he's deaf. We don't get to see the struggle. Like by this time, like Felipe is not in his life, but eventually he does come into his life and he uses him pretty darn well. But it's not really a struggle for him, even when he's just like, oh, yeah, if you enunciate very clearly, I can read your lips. That was an interesting scene. And the way that we're cutting between Bardem's mouth and Skarsgård's eyes. And then later on, there's a moment when he's talking about how Spain is, this is Bardem talking about how Spain is a whorehouse. And as I'm watching that, I keep watching when his head turns away from Goya. So I'm doing, I guess, more of the work of the movie going, okay, he could hear that. Oh, he couldn't hear that. He could hear that. He couldn't hear that. And just like, then he comes out with like, I'm not a whore or whatever. And I'm like, well, I guess, yeah, you only heard just half of the conversation because Bardem kept turning away.
Yeah. You were doing the movie's job for it.
Yeah. I was really putting a lot of work into this one.
I do like the amount of work that they put into the Napoleon ADR that was so bad. Did you notice that scene?
I didn't notice that. Was that when they're picking out the artworks or something else?
So it's like, I believe it's like right after the 15-year cut. It's like Napoleon is addressing like a room of people and he's like walking from left to right in the frame. And it's like someone 80-yard in doing Napoleon, and you can see the actor's like mouth moving a little bit, but it's clearly, it sounds out of place. It doesn't sound like it was recorded in like a room with like echoing. It's just very like flat. And I was just sitting there like, this is a movie made by people in Hollywood, and somebody just let that happen. Like, I know, again, ADR is what ADR is, but like, good Lord, guys, like put anything else in that scene to distract us, because you can't like, that's a rookie like mistake. Because again, like that's the thing, like ultimately, as good as this movie looks, it does feel kind of like slipshod, right? Like it doesn't feel very well put together.
No, which is weird because the sets look beautiful. I mean, there's so many times where I'm just like, oh wow, you know, all these costumes are amazing, but yeah, it just doesn't feel like it holds together.
No, and it's a shame.
Do you know what this movie was missing?
Vincent Schiavelli.
Yes.
Because he was dead, right?
He was dead, yeah. He had died 4 years before this came out.
I don't even think he could have saved it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you have plenty of great actors in this movie. Again, we've mentioned some of them. I mean, Michael Lonsdale's in this movie, fuck's sake. Like, not given much to do.
No, Lonsdale's amazing. And I really, his eyebrows are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I just kind of wish that he had been wearing that same Moonraker outfit, you know?
The silver suit.
The Nehru jacket.
Hell yeah. That's a look, man. That Nehru God, yeah. I always forget he's wearing like a fucking Nehru jacket in that movie.
You know what they should do? They should do a remake of Moonraker and cast Peter Dinklage in that role.
Oh wow. He does kind of look like a diminutive Michael Lansdale. Kind of does. They have that same like old man face.
Yes. Exactly.
I don't know. Like, I don't know Forman's all of his works enough to say that this is the worst thing I've ever seen of his, but for the things that I've seen, this is worse than Black. Like it's, and I think that's because of what the promise is, right? Because Black Peter, it's just a bunch of yo-yos on screen, like real Czech people having real Czech problems. This is Javier fucking Bardem, like still working today. He's in a movie that comes out this week. Like, he's still a known entity and a quantity that people want to have in their movies, just like Natalie Portman. Just like Stellan Skarsgård is going to be in Dune 2 later this year with fucking Javier Bardem. And yet, they pissed it all away. Like, this feels like a fucking pissed it down the toilet opportunity, because you have Miloš Forman working with these people. I've seen the performances he gets out of people like Tom Hulsey, for fuck's sake. Like, he knows how to point the camera at actors and get a good performance. And here it's just like everything failed him. And maybe it's Carrier's script, but Foreman's name is on that written by, just like Carrier's name is. So
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it more than you did, but this is one I will never be revisiting.
Yeah. What is there to glean from a second watch? Like
nothing.
Or not even a second watch, like a second opportunity to watch it. Because ultimately, the movie that you mentioned that it made me think of the most that I wish I was watching instead is The Devils. Like everything in the last 10 minutes of this movie is like he saw Ken Russell's Devils and went, how can I do that? But with Javier Bardem. And it's not even half as compelling as the climax of The Devils because you don't care about the characters.
Right. And I think it would have made sense. I mean, Javier Bardem is a very attractive man. And I think if they had cast somebody who was less attractive in the role, it would have been a little easier to believe. Because sometimes I just feel like attractive people just kind of get to glide through life. It feels like nothing probably would ever really happen to his character, even with the confession. It feels like he would just get a few laughs and he would own up to it, and he would get a nickname for a few years and eventually fade away, but it feels like if they cast more an ugly, put Pete Postlethwaite in this role and then see how it plays, to be like, oh, this ugly old man impregnated this girl and is now seeking power and is back from France and putting all of his cronies on trial. I think that would have been a lot more compelling than to see handsome Javier Bardem. I mean, of course, he does a great job with the role, but I just feel like it should have been somebody else.
Would this movie have possibly been better if they had just swapped Stellan Skarsgård and Javier Bardem?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah.
And then they have to focus on Goya more because then it's your lead actor as Goya. I think that would have fixed it. Does Javier Bardem look like Goya? No. Is Javier Bardem actually able to speak the language that Goya spoke convincingly? Yes. So that also would fix like the language issue, because I don't know why this movie was not in Spanish. Like, for all of the things Forman has ever done, like he normally tries to hew closer to people of the time in the movies, trying to replicate it somewhat. Like, this is just like Natalie Portman and Stellan Skarsgård. Like, you can't get around the fact that that's who that is. Even if they're amazing, which they're not in this movie, it's still just Javier Bardem and Stellan Skarsgård and Natalie Portman on screen. It doesn't have that natural, like even in Cuckoo's Nest, one of my kind of only issues with the movie is Jack Nicholson is too much Jack Nicholson. Like, he is too much himself, and the movie kind of doesn't need him to constantly be 10x Jack Nicholson because what's going on in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of always Jack Nicholson. This movie, like, they're just Javier Bardem and Natalie Portman and Stellan Skarsgård. Like, I can't, because Miloš Forman doesn't do enough to give me something else to latch onto, I kind of just see them as that. And in Cuckoo's Nest, he does give me enough. And Nicholson is such a fucking massive presence as an actor that feels like a hard thing to do, and they almost don't succeed at it. Here, it's like they're not even interested.
Well, so not to turn this into a conversation about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but I think that because at that time in Nicholson's life, like, of course, Nicholson's always going to be Nicholson, but there's degrees of Nicholson. It's kind of like degrees of Pacino, right?
Right.
And like, I'm thinking like Carnal Knowledge and Five Easy Pieces and Drive, he said, and just like the things that came, the Monty Hellman films that he's working on, he was Nicholson, but I don't think he became the Nicholson with like, capital N until Cuckoo's Nest. So I think like what you're seeing, you've grown up with Jack Nicholson always being around and being bigger presence. It's kind of like somebody who has grown up over the last 20 years and just knows Al Pacino as the guy who yells, these kind of things. And it's like you go back and you watch The Godfather, you're just like, wow, this guy could really act. This is amazing.
You mean Al Pacino from Jack and Jill?
Yes, exactly. I'm talking about Dunkachino.
Oh, what's my name? I totally get it, and you're completely right. Like, and in a lot of ways, like, people like Nicholson retiring spare themselves from doing the Pacino thing. Right. Because Nicholson's been retired for 13 years now. So who knows what shitty roles he missed out on being in by just stopping. And Forman, honestly, like, I wonder the same thing. Because, like, 06. This is his last movie. It's not like he died the next year. He died 12 years later.
Right. So I'm curious because this one didn't do jack shit in the box office.
Literally nothing.
I'm wondering if, $50 million budget, 9.4 return. He's not getting courted to make anything, even though I think he should have. He to me is one of those almost, you can't say an elder statesman, but he had earned.
I would say that that's a close approximation. Yeah.
With especially with his American films, just the last few before that with People versus Larry Flint and Man on the Moon. But like, why wasn't the next movie 2001 rather than 2006? So it felt like there was a long time between there. I mean, he did take a long time to make his movies, but man, oh man, it's like, why aren't you getting the gigs even after a box office bomb like Goya's Ghost?
Right. And, in doing research, there was another movie that him and Carrier had written along with Václav Havel from Czechoslovakia, but that movie never got made.
Right.
And it's like in the late 2000s is what I kept reading about it. It's like, okay, so was that before this, or was this like the proverbial nail in the coffin?
Right.
Again, like, I'm not going to say this feels like one, but this feels like a director flailing, like a fish on the sand gasping for air. Like, by the end of it, it was like, all right, Miloš Forman, like, you have done great movies, and that is why I am watching this, but this is not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that with all kinds of, auteurs or, big name directors. I mean, some of them manage to go long enough and not make enough movies that they avoid it. But, again, Forman almost avoided it. Like, a lot of his movies are pretty well regarded. This not being one of them, ultimately, like, it doesn't affect the fact that he directed two of what is widely considered to be some of the greatest movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one of the few movies where a comedic actor actually has a decent dramatic turn, which is a hard thing to do successfully, because very few directors have been able to get the performance out of Jim Carrey that Foreman got out of him in Man on the Moon. Regardless of what you think about that movie, it's the only Jim Carrey performance dramatic wise where he actually like shows up. And I give Foreman a lot of credit because Miloš Forman was able to do what a lot of directors don't have any interest in, which is like getting that performance from that kind of actor and dealing with the bullshit on set. But this to me is just not indicative of the quality that Miloš Forman has put up until this point. And in a lot of ways, it reminds me a little bit of Taking Off in that, like, there wasn't a lot of information about it, kind of like Taking Off. It's like Foreman doesn't even, if he's feeling that way, I, as the audience, am kind of receiving that from the film itself, where you're just kind of not disinterested, but you're not putting your best foot forward because you realize maybe this movie is not as successful as I hoped it would be.
Yeah, it's a real shame to think, he apparently after this, I don't know if he went back to Czechoslovakia, but his last credited thing that he did was, it sounds like it was a re-adaptation of a movie that I want to say co-directed it back in, 65. I can't remember for sure, but it's a musical play called A Walk Worthwhile. And it looks like he and I think Peter is his son, one of his sons, that he directed that with his son for the stage and for film. Which was I'm glad that they were working together. That's kind of cool. That was 2009. That's the last thing that he did, apparently. But yeah, I wish that he had been able to make at least one more film. Yeah,
because he kind of just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, and even Goya's Ghost, like 1999 to 06 is a long time.
Yeah.
7 years in the, like, I would say, and I don't know where you come down on this, like, 6 months in the movie industry is a long time to not have something come out. Like,
right.
Like that used to be the rule
these
of thumb.
days. Yeah.
Like now it feels like a month and you're not in something and you're not relevant anymore. But 7 years, even in 99 and like the mid 2000s, like that's a long time.
Yeah. Now you're like, Whatever happened to that Dwayne The Rock Johnson? He hasn't put out anything for a while.
God, I wish. I wish we could say that.
Yeah, a little break would be fine, Dwayne. You want to pick your projects a little better. That might be okay.
I mean, and even think about someone like Lynch, right? Like 77, 80, 84, 86, 90, like cranking them out every 5 to 6 years. Like this is just, it's a shame. It's a shame that Forman couldn't figure out a way to make things work after this. This does not seem like a death sentence the way some movies I've seen that auteurs release then never do anything else. Like,
right.
This is not that. This is just like yet another costume period. This
was not some sort of major vanity project that he was doing. Yeah, it feels like it is. It feels like a smaller movie, even though it's got amazing production design. But I imagine that's because you're shooting in Spain and able to use a lot of locations that are still around and still look like they did, at least in our minds, you know.
Yeah.
They might have looked a lot different back then.
Yeah, but no, I mean, to your point, like if you shoot on location, like you make this easier for yourself to look period authentic. But looking period authentic, having good actors, having nice costumes, just it doesn't pass muster if the movie's not engaging, and it's just not. And I wish it was. And I'm not. Same. You know, I think I maybe dislike it more than you do, but at the same time, like it honestly just is kind of sad more than anything else. Like this movie in a lot of ways is the film equivalent of the Natalie Portman character in the movie after the 15 years. It's just like, oh man, like that's kind of unfair. Like that's unfortunate that this is a story director's final film. Like we couldn't have had like, you know, an Irishman type thing or anything. Like, who knows what Scorsese's final movie will be, but hope is it's not going to be something like this. Like in my mind, if Scorsese had ended on like a Hugo, it's the equivalent of this, right? Like, well, that's an interesting question that I want to kind of ask you. Like, are there other directors that have had this kind of like weird stop and done moment that you can think of?
Yeah, I'm sure there are, but I can't think of any right off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm trying to think of even like, you know, what were the last few films of like Howard Hawks or Billy Wilder? You know, like Buddy Buddy was a weird movie for Wilder to go out on, you know.
Right.
And I don't remember what some of Hawks' later, like, I mean, Capper had like a 45-year decline.
Right. Well, I mean, like, you know, the joke about Hugo aside, like, can you imagine if Tarantino just stopped at like, I don't know what would be considered his least of his movies by people
Death
who
Proof.
like them. I like that movie.
Really? Okay.
I do. You know why I like it? It's because it's like an hour and a half.
As opposed to Hateful Eight, which is like, what, 3 hours or something?
I think that's his least successful movie for most people, I think. I think Hateful Eight is not the one that people return to the same way like they returned to Inglourious Basterds and Kill Bill. So like, imagine if Tarantino didn't make anything past that. Like, it's just weird because, again, this doesn't feel like such a blow up that Forman couldn't have like weathered the storm.
Right.
Like,
yeah. This was not the movie was put together well. You know, it wasn't a disaster as far as that goes. And it wasn't like some sort of weird politics or something.
No, it's just, I guess I don't understand how this movie exists the way that it does and has no, like nobody talks about this. Like, I know why people are talking about the Forman movies that they talk about because those are worth talking about, but nobody mentions this as like a weird artifact at the end of his career. Like, I had never heard of this until you talked about watching it. Like, and we've talked about Javier Bardem, Stellan Skarsgård, Natalie Portman, all people, at least two of the three I would watch in things if they were in it. And yeah. Well,
the biggest shame is that I don't think that Stilgar ever meets Baron Harkonnen, so we can't really get a reunion.
Oh my god.
Right? I mean, maybe the Baron's already dead by the time. Well, I'm thinking of the Lynch version, but because Stilgar is there in the throne room at the end, but by that time, Baron Harkonnen's already been eaten by a worm.
Right, long dead.
Yeah.
Wait for my brother Baron.
You know, when I watch these movies that have actors from Dune in them, I just and make me think of Dune. I just want to watch Dune.
I know, right? I mean, really, like I was saying before we started recording, you know, like what's the movie that you quote from the most? And I was like, Goodfellas, Lord of the Rings. It might be Dune, just because you can't say that somebody tried, because as soon as somebody says they tried, I'm like, tried and died. Tried and failed, tried and died.
Yeah, I hate that about movies that make me think about better movies, because then it just makes you want to watch the better movie. And when you do that as a movie, like it's like when a movie has a movie in the movie that the characters are watching, and it's like, you know, I wish I was watching that. Like Scream does it perfectly. Scream shows Halloween in the movie, and it ends up being a good movie. But there are so many movies that just have another movie in there that I'm like, you know, don't show me that, because I'd rather watch that than this.
Yeah, there was a Turkish movie I was watching one time at a film festival, and they were watching TV in the movie, and I was just like, no, leave it on the TV. This is far more interesting than what these two guys are up to.
I want to hear about this. Let me know about this.
Yeah. I want to watch Turkish TV for an hour and a half. I'd be absolutely fine with that.
Yeah.
Just let me flip around the channels, you know.
Anything beats having to see Natalie Portman in brownface.
Or the mouth.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know what's worse. The mouth that she's doing with those fake teeth, or the kind of like light brown face. It's like, what was that woman called? The woman who was like claimed that she was black. It's like, that woman. Like, it's like that. Like, don't put curls in your hair and then tell everybody that, you know, well, my family's from the South. Dolezal.
Yeah.
Rachel Dolezal. That's kind of what she looks like. It's like, again, like I just why didn't Natalie Portman look that way to begin with is my question, if they're all supposed to be in Spain.
Right.
she looks like Natalie Portman first, and then she looks like Natalia Portman or Portmondo. Like it's like that Senior Spielbergo thing. Natalie Portmondo. Yes, that's her stunt double. Like, guys, come on.
I identified as Spanish.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Got it. That doesn't make you Spanish, though, but I identify that way.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha, Natalie. Oh, my God. Yeah. Hey, you know what, though? I think ultimately with something like this, I'm coming into this in a direction that's not, I'm not the right person for these movies. Period piece costume movies are not my game. Like maybe I need to watch the right ones. Maybe I've never watched the good ones. Maybe I haven't watched enough Judi Dench and Cate Blanchett movies to really understand how good they are. But this is not helping. Neither was Valmont. I don't know, man. Like maybe I've just missed those movies and the good ones, but there are good contemporary costume period movies out there, right? Like, are you the same way? Do you feel the same way? Like, I know some people dig the fuck out of them, but like, because Bridgerton exists for some person.
Right. Yeah, it really doesn't float my boat. There's, I can think of things like Ophel's Earrings of Madame de, and it's like, okay, that's a costume drama, and that works beautifully. I love it. And I'm sure there's got to be other costume dramas. Like you mentioned the Judi Dench, Cate Blanchett, like Sense and Sensibility was really good, but that was, I mean, maybe Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, maybe, but
that does not count. I thought you were going to say fucking A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale is a great movie now.
I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I love Rhys Ifans and Mark Addy though, so I don't have an opinion about Heath Ledger though. So I just don't. I guess for me, I don't know what they don't resonate with me about. But yeah, like all those like Cate Blanchett, Elizabeth, all those kinds of movies.
It could be the plots. I mean, so much of it is like when we're talking about Valmont, the whole castle intrigue kind of thing of like who knows what and who's telling what to who kind of thing. I mean, a lot of those share that when it comes to the costume dramas, because it's not like there's stuff like Count of Monte Cristo, which is basically an action movie, but set in that time period.
Right.
Yeah. That, oh God, that Kevin Reynolds version of it, chef's kiss. I love that movie so much.
Is that the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
No, that was the Man in the Iron Mask. This is the one with Jim Caviezel.
Completely.
Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce,
Rufus Sewell.
Yep. And oh my God, Luis Guzman is so fucking good in that.
Don't you like how of all the people that I mentioned, it's Rufus Sewell?
I appreciate that because you could have put a gun to my head. Yeah. And actually, was it him in that?
Is he not in that?
I don't think he is. Freddie Jones is, though. So Thufir Howard is.
Oh. Oh, no. Rufus Sewell is in A Knight's Tale.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to remember the name of the guy who's Monsieur Clarion, and he's in that Prodigal Son show now with Michael Sheen. I think.
Isn't Rufus Sewell also an Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
I think he might be.
I just mentioned him, but he's in everything else.
Not the Prestige, the other one.
Oh, the Illusionist.
Yeah, I think he's the bad guy in that one.
Oh, he's a good actor, but he's not in that movie apparently. I've never seen that Man in the Iron Mask. No, Count of Monte Cristo. Which one?
Both of them are good, but Count of Monte Cristo is one I actually own on DVD.
Not Blu-ray?
I don't think I've upgraded yet.
Oh, okay. So. I have never seen any of them. I know that they exist. I remember the poster for The Man in the Iron Mask and The Count of Monte Cristo, because those are early 2000s movies. But
yeah.
But like you said, they're action movies, right? Like,
oh yeah, it's all Dumas and Hugo. Very swashbuckling. So, and I think we, gosh, we're way off tangent here, but just the idea of where you draw that line between swashbuckling films and the costume dramas, because they share a lot of stuff, and I think it might be because of the plot and just like I was talking about the who knows who the
right.
That intrigue versus you can still have that, but then you have sword fights.
Right. Well,
there aren't a lot of sword fights in the Judi Dench movies that we're talking about.
Right. I mean, I guess a period piece movie with costumes and stuff that I do like is Pirates of the Caribbean. We kind of already mentioned it.
Yeah. You go into that swashbuckling territory, man.
Right, exactly. But it still has that the high intrigue and the bullshit of the people backstabbing each other. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of these things where I think some of us just resonate with certain things and others don't. And I don't know. This is not what I was expecting from Miloš Forman. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's kind of weird that he was just Mr. Costume period piece, man.
Right. Yeah. And, when we talk next week about Ragtime, it's also a period film, but from a much different period. And that, in my mind, and I'm very curious to get your take on it, but in my mind, that one works better than all of the ones that we're talking about over the last pretty much month.
Well, I will tell you that, the fact that a non-American made Cuckoo's Nest and was as unbiased as he ends up being, which is such a benefit to the quality of that movie and the story that it tells and the way that it's able to convey it. I can only imagine that Ragtime will feel similar, and that is a complete outsider talking about the American experience through the lens of a Czechoslovakian. And that's the thing. I mean, ultimately, with something like Goya's Ghost, the voice of Forman gets lost. And it is such an important voice, because his voice is such an integral part of what makes his films great, even if they're adaptations of other people's work.
Right.
And that's the failing here, is we know that Forman makes great movies, and this should have been one, and it's not. And that's the ultimate bummer, right? Because again, unlike so many directors who have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 movies to their name, he had 22, not even. It's such a small number that you're able to count it easily. And that's a shame. It's like David Lynch and so many other people, where their output doesn't match the quality of the movies, because the quality of their movies are so good that it takes too long. I guess, maybe, possibly, with some people that might be the case. I guess it's hard to tell why Forman takes forever to make movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't pin it on any one thing, but when someone takes a while and their movie comes out and it's amazing, you chalk it up to they know what they want and they know how to get it, and they're, this, that, and something else. But when it comes out like this and there's 8 years in between, you ask yourself, why did it take so long? So it is a complete double-edged sword as an auteur, I feel like. So, Twin Tarantino waits 6 years and people are excited. Miloš Forman waits 6 years and it comes out and nobody cares. that's unfortunate. So Mike, anything else we want to talk about with this Goya's Ghosts? Final thoughts on Goya's Ghosts, Mike?
No final thoughts on this one. I wish it was better. It's okay. You're not going to absolutely hate it if you see it, but don't seek it out. I mean, I don't know how easy or difficult it is to find this one, but yeah, you don't need to be a completist. And I think that's kind of the lesson that this month has taught me, Chris, is that I don't need to be a completist.
So I just want to tell you, to answer your question, this right now is on Peacock.
Oh, okay. That's
where I watched it. Because I was like, I punched it into Google and I was like, where is this? Because sometimes it is just places. It was on fucking Peacock. So, and it's actually on Plex for free too. So
it was really weird because the version I had, I was very afraid because the opening credits were half in German and half not.
Yep.
Which was really weird because it would say like music by, all of those things were absolutely in English. But then when it came to Goya's Ghost, it was like Goya Geist or whatever. And then the opening where it's like, 1782, Spain, but here's the Inquisition. That was all in German. And then as soon as a character starts to speak, he's speaking English, and there was no German for the rest of the movie. It's like, that was weird.
Yeah, I noticed that too, because I watched one version on Plex and the other on Peacock, and like the Peacock one didn't have that. So, but what's funny is on Tubi, the description of the movie is painter Francisco Goya faces a scandal involving his muse, who is labeled a heretic by a monk. No, it's not that movie that we watched.
She's not really his muse. Well, I guess she is, because he does say at one point, she's in every face I paint. And they do that montage, which really stands out because it's not like anything else in the movie. The montage of all of the faces from his paintings that looked kind of like Natalie Portman.
They tried to make us believe as an audience by not showing it, but telling it that Natalie Portman is somehow Goya's muse.
Right.
And that feels part and parcel to the ultimate failing of this movie, which is getting us to care about something that you don't care enough to tell us about in a way that would be entertaining or enthralling or making me empathetic with a character who's been locked up for 15 years. Ultimately, I was kind of just ready for this movie to be done.
Well, it's weird because I don't like to advocate for longer movies, but this one feels like it could have used more, especially when it comes to the setup and then the something during the 15-year time jump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm always hesitant with any movie that has like a massive time jump in it, especially one that happens like this with no warning, because it feels like they're covering up for some failing that they just don't want to deal with, which is like a conclusion to the story, or I don't know, like really the second half of the movie is way worse than the first part. So much so that it's like, that's, if anything needed a second or third pass, it's the second half.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. Like it could have used 20, 30 minutes even, because it feels like an incomplete movie. It doesn't feel like a Forman movie. And yeah, like you've said, it's just for the amount of time in between the movies, like, hey, at least we have Cuckoo's Nest and Amadeus. Because otherwise, like, this would not be, like you said, no, this is free for a reason. Like, people are not, nobody would pay for this, hopefully. Nobody in their right mind, at least. So on that note, let's take a break and we'll play a TV spot for the final movie of Mike White May.
What a time it was. A time for crystal chandeliers and flowing champagne. A time for secret seductions and public scandals.
I know what you do with your chorus girls.
A time when a chorus girl became the mistress of a millionaire and triggered the murder of the century. Bad time. Good time. Ragtime. Rated PG.
That's right, we're going to be talking about Ragtime. And Richard's going to be joining us, which I think is actually the first time the three of us have done a Kulturecast together.
Wow. Okay. You might be right.
Yeah, because I've never been on your show with him, and you've never been on my show with him. But he's been on our respective shows.
Right. Yeah, he's been on Kolchak Tapes. He's been on Life and Times of Captain Barney Miller. I don't think he was ever on any of the, like, Father Malone shows that we do.
No.
Nope. But, and then, yeah. Cranking on ass.
Big cranking. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about a big ensemble movie directed by Miloš Forman called Ragtime. And Richard Haddam of Rankin' on Bass will be joining us. And you'll be joining us, Mike.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Round out the month.
Yeah, try to stop me.
Run. So speaking of trying to stop you, where can people find what you do every Mike?
Oh, you can find all of my stuff over at weirdingwaymedia.com, which is available at weirdingwaymedia.com. So things like the projection booth. I mean, just mentioned a few other shows that we do. What else are we working on, Chris? Oh, yeah, The Shabby Detective, yet another Columbo podcast, which just had a new episode go up this week. So get on over there and hear us not rag on an episode. We were very positive about this one.
Yeah, we tend to be positive people for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've really brought the room down with these Forman films this month.
I don't think you've brought the room down as much as you did in 2020.
Oh boy.
It was just like Mike's piling on with the universe, folks.
Yeah. Here's the pandemic, and now here's all these depressing foreign films.
Yeah. Intentionally depressing foreign films about the end of the fucking world, too.
Yeah.
Couldn't have picked a better time.
Oh, boy.
Good Lord. Yeah, I would say where you could find me, but it's just going to be exactly what Mike said. So weirdingwaymedia.com. You can find this show on the internet, Kulturecast.com. Patreon, go there to give money. But like, rate, and review the show wherever you get it, which is more than likely iTunes or Spotify, though only one of those has the ability to rate and review the show, which is iTunes. So even if you listen on Spotify, go over to iTunes and give us a review, because that's where it helps. Mike, thank you so much for joining me and for programming the month. Even if these movies haven't been Forman's best, it's been fun to talk about.
It has been a lot of fun. And thanks as always for allowing me to come on here and talk about anything, much less be able to program a whole month.
Of course, I relish the opportunity to give you the opportunity, because it's always a fun time. We always watch stuff I've never seen, and it's going to be something worth talking about. So yeah, as always, until next time, we'll catch you on the next episode.